Hopewell Presbyterian Church family. I am coming to you today from the manse because I am so excited to be home, to be back here in Hopewell with you after 3 weeks away. The first week that I was away from you, I took some continuing education time during which I did some learning through the Presbyterian Board of Pensions on finances. The second week that I was away, I did some hiking and some backpacking and some camping up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I got to take a step away from the busyness of the world and be immersed in God's creation. And I'm so thankful for that time to take a step back and to take a small Sabbath. Then the third week that I was away from you, I had the great joy of celebrating my little brother's wedding. He is now married to my new sister, Christina, and I look forward to seeing the ways in which God works in their lives. I know many of you, like me, have had big life events, big family events over the course of the summer that have had to be shifted a little bit. And I know that it was difficult for them, as it has been difficult for many of you, but it was so amazing to see the way in which God worked in unexpected ways through their lives. All of this time away has given me a little bit of time to think. That's actually one of the things that I did while I was doing continuing education. I was doing reading to prepare myself for this fall together. We are starting out a new program year with one another this Sunday. And while this isn't quite the kickoff that we would all hope for or expect, believe me, I would love to have a big breakfast with each and every one of you there and to swap stories about our summers and share pictures. But this is not the space we are in at this moment, so we're going to make the best of it. This coming Sunday, we are going to make the best of it by sharing at the most important table of them all, God's table. This Sunday, we are going to have communion with each other, so I encourage you to remember to prepare the elements of communion from your home, and then to gather with us, to gather as a community over Zoom so that we can break bread and remember the promises that God made us in Jesus Christ. Promises to keep us together, to keep us unified, and to build the kingdom through the work that God calls us to do here on earth. In addition to communion, I will start out our preaching series for the summer. You've learned a little bit about this in last week's email. The sermon series for this fall is called Our Place in God's Story. And what we're going to do is we are going to track through the story of Scripture and see how our story, the lives that we are living right now, connects to the story of God's people from the very beginning of time. And how looking at those two stories and seeing in the ways in which they are similar helps us live out the life that God is calling us to in this time and this space. You got a little bit of a taste of this from your three amazing preachers while I was away. Scott, Doug, and Megan did an excellent job of connecting the story of Scripture to their lives. And this is what we're going to do this fall. In addition to doing that through the preaching series, we're also going to do that through the Christian education series, our Wisdom and Wonder Gathering, which, if you noticed in the last email, is going to be scheduled for Sunday nights at 7 p.m. over Zoom. This is to create a little bit of distance between one Zoom gathering and another Zoom gathering, and it's to create an opportunity for us to connect with scholars in the field of biblical studies and many other fields as they teach us about Scripture, as well as about our character, our identity as God's people. We're going to dive deep into what it means for each and every one of us to be a character in God's story. So how is our character developed? What are the facets of our character, the attributes of our character? Who are we? Who has God created us to be, and how is that going to play out in this world? One big piece of figuring out our identity as a bunch of folks who tend to gather at the Hopewell Presbyterian Church is to think of ourselves as people of faith in Hopewell. And one of the great things about being a person of faith in Hopewell is that we are a part of the Hopewell Council of Churches. And starting out this fall, the Hopewell Council of Churches is hosting a book study. This book study is of the book that Bev Mills and Elaine Buck wrote, If These Stones Could Talk. And in this book, they explore the stories of the people of Hopewell, the Black community in Hopewell and the Valley and the surrounding areas, and how we see in that book that story is also connected to the story of faith. So I encourage you to come to this wonderful opportunity. It'll be on Monday nights, starting next week Monday. You can sign up using the online form. And I encourage you to reach out to your friends in the community, folks who might want to learn more about who this Hopewell community is, who the people who are here, who God has called here are, and what the history and the stories behind that are, particularly as it relates to one facet of our identity, which is race. As we think about this book study, I want to share with you that one of our interns, Ben Kreider, will help lead that book study. So to support Ben, I also encourage you to come. Our second intern, Katie, will be with us this Sunday, and she will be watching us as we worship with one another and as we kick off this sermon series. And then next Sunday, we're going to celebrate Katie and Ben's arrival with us. That being said, at 7 p.m. on Sunday night, Katie invites and I invite all of you to join us at that Wisdom and Wonder time to meet Katie over Zoom and to get to know her and for her to get to know you a little bit. And one of the reasons that we're doing this over Zoom is that she lives in Chicago right now. So we are going to be able to cross lots of distance so that we can connect with her as we walk with her on her journey as she figures out who God has called her to be. So there's a lot going on in the life of the church. If you have questions about when things might be scheduled or what's going on, I encourage you to look at the website. We are starting to put more on there, including a Google Calendar. And on that Google Calendar, if you click an event that you're interested in or that you are a part of by way of being on a committee or otherwise, by way of being in a Bible study, you should see a Zoom link in there. We're going to try this out for a little bit and see how it goes, but hopefully this will streamline making sure everybody has the information they need to stay connected in our community. I really look forward to celebrating communion with you and seeing your faces on Zoom on Sunday. It was good to rest, but I am happy to be home with each and every one of you as we figure out our place in God's story. See you soon.